Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Maura. I'm the Champagne Stitcher here on YouTube, on TikTok, and on Instagram. And yeah, hi, welcome. Let's talk about cross stitch. So on my last regular Flosstube, I had just reached around 200 subscribers, and now I'm already closer to 400, which is incredible. I'm attributing this to a couple of factors. First and foremost, that I attended the Spring Mingle event by Lindy Stitches, which was so much fun, by the way. I spent a lot of time in the whip speed dating areas, in the general chat area. I followed the class by Jacob from ModernFolkEmbroidery, which was really fun and really interesting. And yeah, I just got to meet a lot of people through all the events, through the speed datings and everything. And, you know, people want to stay in touch and, you know, want to ask about your Instagrams, your Flosstubes and whatnot. So I'm guessing I know quite a few people of the new subscribers from that particular event, which is so much fun. And also, I just recently learned this. YouTube will send you a notification whenever another channel mentions you, I think in their description box or something. I did not know this. But yeah, special shout out to the Seattle Stitcher, Megan. She's absolutely lovely. I've been talking to her a little bit over these past couple of weeks, and yeah, it's just been so great hanging out with her. Also the Stitching Owl, who I met quite often at the whip speed dating events. We kept being matched together, so we had quite a few conversations, which is fun. I also got mentioned by Accounting My Stitches because she bought Tropica, the Bella Filipina chart, because of me, so that's really fun, and that's also a sneak peek for what you're going to be seeing next. But yeah, thank you so much to all of these people for mentioning me and just being lovely and chatting. And yeah, it's really nice to have a little bit of a community being built around this. Yeah, it's really great. I don't really live in an area with a lot of stitchers, so it's really nice to be able to talk to people about the same designers, or you know, be able to complain about fabric or floss or anything like that. So that's been a really fun experience. But yeah, all of that aside, let's jump into all of my finishes and my current projects and haul and everything like that, because I do have quite a bit to mention. So yeah, we'll just get started. So unfortunately, I cannot physically show you my first finish since last video because my parents have already claimed it, but I'll hover it here somewhere. So I finally finished the Whisky map by Classic Embroidery. It was stitched on a 32 count Zweigart. A mystery color, I'm not sure what it was. It was just like an offcut from the needle store. And yeah, this was a interesting project. It's not that I hated it, it's just that there were a lot of fractional stitches, lots of grays. So when it came to stitching it, like the individual distilleries and everything, that was super fun, because afterwards I would always look up what the actual real life whiskey distillery looked like, and I would post pictures on Instagram making comparisons between the real one and the stitched one, and most of the time they matched up pretty nicely, so that was always so cool to see. It's just it was kind of a slog after a while stitching all of those grays and everything. But in the end, it was, you know, it really gave a really nice result, and it looks really pretty. My parents really loved it. And yeah, I'm not going to be stitching anything from Classic Embroidery again soon. I was eyeing a couple of the maps, but following that experience, I thought, yeah, no, not going to happen again, even though they have some really nice stuff. But I think I mentioned this in my latest video, where there were quite a few issues with just accessing Classic Embroidery charts, period. I could not find anything in stock for this particular design. I could not find any retailers. When I contacted the brand itself, I never received a response, so I don't even know if they're still active. So yeah, that was a whole thing of itself. But yeah, eventually we got it done. It's already framed at my parents' place. They enjoy it, so yeah, that was something. That was quite a big project in the end. I think it took me a month or so to finish, which is kind of decent. But the way I like to work is I usually try to switch up between a bigger project and then go to smaller as kind of like a palette cleanser. And that's exactly what I did here. So I'm gonna hop into my next finish, which is the Springbird by Jeannette Douglas. This is stitched on 40 count xJudesign baby sheep linen. The reason that I'm stitching this on 40 count specifically is that these little designs by Jeannette Douglas, if you stitch them on 40 count, they fit perfectly within a 10 by 10 centimeter frame just from the store. So for that reason, all of these little designs by Jeannette Douglas, I'm stitching on 40 count whenever possible, so I can you know, hopefully when I finish a series, I can use the same frame for each and every design. So yeah, this is what she looks like. I have the entire seasonal series. So I have the spring bird, the winter deer. I think there's an autumn and a summer version of as well. I think all of them have like an animal attached to them, but basically I have the full series, and I'm hoping to, throughout the year, whenever a new season is entered, because I stitched this when we entered spring, that I can stitch the other design fitting with the season, and in the end, at the end of the year, I'll be able to hang them all up or frame them all together. But yeah, so this is what it looks like. Really nice, fun, easy stitch. I think I finished these designs in less than a week, if it's even that. This would have been finished earlier, but the thing was that I was missing a certain color. So Jeannette Douglas designs often call for threads that I don't really have access to. So usually I will search for some kind of, what's it called, a substitute in DMC or Karen Water Lilies or anything like that, anything I can easily reach. So what happened here is that the main color variegated thread that I use, which is this pink to green to blue thing, that's a DMC, I think 4502. I think the color is called Camellia or something. But yeah, so they didn't have this in stock in my local like needle store, so I had to wait until I could get my hands on this color. So yeah, this is just I think the original design calls for a similar kind of colorway, but it's by a brand that I can't, you know, access. So this is the closest I could find that was a DMC kind of substitute. I've decided, because I was already looking to, I think it was Gloriana threads, and I think there's a couple of them called for in this particular series, but I've already kind of made up my mind and decided that I will not be purchasing any of those colors just for these tiny little designs. I will just be making my own colorways and trying to figure out which ones could be good substitutes with the colors that I already have in stash or I can easily get through DMC. So yeah, I'm not going to make these all like called for. I believe the only color I had for this one that was called for is one Gloriana thread. I think it was the blue and green one, not entirely sure. I used the called for beads, but that's about it. Everything else I've decided from now on, I'm kind of going to personalize, keep it as close to the design as possible, but yeah, not one-to-one. But yeah, final look. Here she is. All right, and then, oh, you know how I was just saying I like to split between a larger project and a smaller and then a larger? Well, this one definitely constitutes a larger. So this is Sol Tropica by Bella Filipina. This is what she looks like. I finished her in exactly a month, and I believe I might have finished her sooner if it hadn't been for like weekends away and stuff. So this is Sol Tropica by Bella Filipina. She is stitched on 32 count even weave by Zweigart in the color Azure Blue. I love this color. I'm going to be using the same fabric for her sister design, which is Luna Mystica, which I'm still waiting on one singular Krynic in order to be able to start her. So I think I'll be waiting for a while. But yeah, I love this design and love how she turned out. She was so much fun. She's also quite a bit smaller than the other Bellafina that I stitched, Filipina. I don't know if I said that right. But yeah, I stitched Mermaid Aquabella, I think, last year, and she was a whole bit huger. I think I stitched her in 2 months, so I was kind of surprised by the size of her. But don't let the size fool you. She's very heavy. Like, she has a lot of beads. I'm gonna see if I can zoom in the right area here, but when you look in her headdress, like, I'm not sure if you can see this correctly, but I actually had to leave out some of the beads in the pattern because there was no space. I barely fit those leaf designs that you can see in her hair. I barely fit those in there, and I had to remove quite a lot of the beads that are, you know, called for in the pattern. I had to leave quite a few of them out just to make sure that the leaves had, you know, space to be. But yeah, in general, very gorgeous. I actually, when I was stitching on her, I said something that I never thought I would, and that was that I miss stitching with Krynic just because we've had so little access to it to Krynic threads the past couple of years, months. So stitching with them was actually quite fun. I do think I'll have a little bit of an issue when framing this particular thing, because some of the crinings that she calls for are number 8s, which are quite thick. And because I did not know of any other fastening methods, I make knots. I'm sorry, I make knots, and those will probably cause some, like, what do you call it, like relief, like bumps when framing. Yeah, not sure what I'm gonna be able to do about that. That's just how it's gonna be until I learn of another method that I actually like and I stick with. But yeah, so I'm just thinking if there's anything else I can show you about her. So we have the Krynic throughout her tail, quite a few Karen water lilies as well, which I sometimes try to fussy cut to make sure that the colors were fitting within the design, but sometimes I just went, you know, screw it. It's nice enough. All of the colors, the variegation in the colors, most of the colors would also appear in the regular DMC, so I felt like it wasn't that much of a hassle to just, you know, stitch whatever color appeared next in the variations. So yeah, that's all good. But yeah, really happy to have her finished and looking forward to finishing her sister as well. I'm just looking at my notes to see if I missed anything that I need to mention. Oh yeah, maybe just a little quick mention, because like I said, she calls for a lot of beads. There were 2 of the bead packs that were absolutely nearly empty when I finished this design. And since I mentioned already leaving out a couple of beads in the headdress, I'm not entirely sure how many of the beads like would still be left if I didn't like skip out on a couple of them. So yeah, that's something I would say, that if you are somebody who works from your collection of mill hills and whatnot, and you don't really kit up anything if you already have it in stash, for this particular design, for I think it was the gold and the light yellow beads, I think it was those 2, or maybe the red ones as well. Not entirely sure, but I would kit this up from the start, from the get-go. I would not work from stash when it comes to the beads on this particular one, just because it was such a close call when it came to that. So yeah, just a heads up in case anybody wants to start working on this. So this next finish is quite a bit smaller than the Bella Filipina, which is expected, but it was also stitched with an ulterior motive, because when I finished the Sol Tropica, I was waiting on a package, and that package wasn't going to arrive for at least a week, so I needed something to tide me over until then. So I looked through my pattern book, looked for something that would keep me busy for about a week, which is how I ended up stitching this completely out of season. But I think it's still cute. So this is Autumn Arbor by The Drawn Thread. She is stitched on 32 count mystery Zweigart linen, the same Zweigart that I used for the Whisky map design. And using none of the called for, I substituted everything with DMC and Karen water lilies, even the beads. I just picked some random ones that I thought fit the design. But yeah, this particular design is part of a series, so you also have like the Spring Arbor, the Winter Arbor, all of those. And now, because I stitched one of them, I want to stitch all of them. There's a couple of issues there, because the only design of this particular series that I could find on one of my trusty cross-stitch websites is the Spring Arbor one. And as for the Winter Arbor, I've come across that one a couple of times on Vinted, but I haven't purchased it yet. Summer Arbor, I have no idea. I don't even know what it looks like. I don't know if it still exists. So if anybody happens to have some information on these particular designs and knows whether or not they're like out of print or just like generally unpopular, I would like to know, so that I know that if I see something else, some of the designs pop up on online stores or something, that I know I need to jump on them. But yeah, I'm hoping at some point to finish the entire series. I'm thinking about finishing them all on different color fabrics, so doing summer on a light green, spring on a pale pink, winter on a light blue, all those kinds of things, and maybe do like the same frame but in different colors. Like I have a whole idea of how I want to execute this at some point, if I happen to one day collect all of the patterns. But yeah, this is what it looks like. And the Drawn Thread and Jeannette Douglas are 2 brands that I really gravitate towards lately, because they both include cross stitches, beads, and also specialty stitches. I love it when a design includes specialty stitches. So in here, for example, We have some satin stitch, some queen stitches, I believe some rice stitches as well. So we do have quite a bit of variety when it comes to specialty stuff, which I like. I think it adds quite a bit to a design, and it's fun to learn new things like that. But yeah, speaking of learning new things, so yeah, like I said, I was stitching this in preparation, well, in waiting for my next project, which was going to be sent to me. So we'll head into talking about that one. So this next finish is actually a kit that I received from the brand itself. So the brand is called IMAKEstitch, and they are present on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram, and you can purchase their kits on Etsy as well. So I had worked with this particular brand before because they had reached out to me last year asking if I wanted to try one of their mini kits. And I did, so they sent it up to me, and I'll put a picture up here of that finish. But yeah, you got everything included, so pattern, fabric, threads, beads, all of that. And also the frame, which to me is like such a huge selling point. I've never had one of those experiences where you could, finish a project and immediately have a frame that fit the design perfectly. So yeah, really happy with that particular finish. So they reached out to me again this year and asked if I wanted to try anything from their site. And I came across this particular design and I had to. The thing is, I talked about, trying new techniques and everything. Thing is, I would never have purchased this for myself, which is why I'm so grateful that the brand reached out to me, because there are so many techniques in this particular design that I've never tried before, but I really wanted to try. I just didn't want to, splurge on spending a lot of money on something that I might not be able to do. So the fact that they wanted to send it to me was just huge, because now I feel a lot more confident in some of these techniques. So I'll show you the finish. So this is the Sunthread Kit by IMAKEstitch. And some of the techniques I was talking about are, for example, stitching with ribbon and also hardanger. I'm hoping I'm having this in frame currently. But yeah, it's where you cut the fabric and make designs around that. So that was all entirely new to me. I have to say, this design though, it's definitely the most difficult work I've ever done, because not only because of the different techniques and all of the, learning all of the new stuff, but I would just say that this particular kit is not at all beginner friendly whatsoever, because there's a lot of fractional stitches, there's a lot of, like I said, new techniques, but also the explanation on the pattern is sometimes a little bit much. There were times where I would be looking how to do a certain stitch, and I would be sitting there with 4 different pages of the pattern next to me, because you have a pattern that says that's the actual pattern of the design, then you have the instructions that says where certain specialty stitches have to go, then you have the bead pattern that tells you which beads have to go where, but then you also have a separate pattern that tells you which angle the beads need to be in. Like, it was just a lot of the times. I'm sure I made some mistakes. I already know that one of the I mixed up some of the colors on here, because also the explanation about some of those was a little bit difficult to understand. But yeah, in the end, the result is absolutely fabulous. It's not my usual style, because these colors are quite muted, but I think it fits perfectly with the fabric, with, all the colors are quite complementary to each other. But yeah, would not recommend any beginner this particular kit. I think that if you want to start, if you want to explore this brand and how their patterns are laid out and everything, I think those mini kits that I just talked about are absolutely fantastic. But this is definitely advanced. I'm looking forward to framing this at some point. For this particular kit, I did not receive the fitting frame, which is, no big issue. I'm sure that shipping and stuff would have been too difficult with that. But yeah, really proud that I finished this one. Not sure I'd do it again, to be honest. It was very, very intense at times. I do have to say though, this particular bead, the butterfly bead in the tree there, is just, that's what sold me on the design, really. It's so gorgeous. I'm hoping I'm putting it in frame here. But yeah, like I said, like the instructions are sometimes a little bit convoluted, and with all the fractional stitches, with all the specialty stitches, working with all these new techniques, like if you've never stitched with ribbon, this might be a little bit intimidating. If you've never done hardanger, which I hadn't, this could also be this was intimidating. yeah, I'm sure I made some mistakes here and there, especially when it comes to like the cutting out and everything was fine, but I forgot that when you cut out these areas, that all of the threads that you didn't lay down correctly, like in the back, they would show through the holes. So that happened quite a bit, where I had to like finagle some loose threads or whatever to stay behind, to stay away from where the holes were. I'm not sure it's succeeded completely, but it looks mostly decent. I'm happy with the result in the end. But you know, you get everything included, and it looks absolutely stunning. It's very impressive looking. Yeah, I would definitely try some other designs by this brand again. Probably not something as big as this one. Like I really, they released some new kits recently, and I think they're Christmas themed because they're like red and blue. I hope I'll be able to add a picture in here somewhere, but those are absolutely gorgeous. When I was choosing between, you know, which designs I got to choose, I really was going back and forth between the Christmassy ones and this particular one, but I thought this was more unique when you look at their general, like in their websites. You have quite a few that were kind of in the Christmas style design that I'm showing you. This one was quite unique to their particular brand, so I wanted to try this out. That's a finish. I'm hoping at some point I'll be able to try more from the brand. But yeah, for now, I'm still recovering from this one, so I'm happy to have this finished. But yeah, I'll take a little break. I needed something a little bit easier after this. So yeah, we'll head into my final project, but I'm just gonna zoom in and show you slowly everything here, because I do really think it's so impressive to look at. So I'm hoping you guys can see every detail. Okay, so again, next I wanted to stitch something a little bit smaller. So what do I do when I need something small and quick? I reached out to Jeannette Douglas. In this case, I stitched the design Take Time to Stitch. I'm gonna show you this. I changed all of the colors. So here's the thing. I've been wanting to stitch something with all of my favorite colors for quite a while now, but I've never found a design that I thought, you know, I can easily switch over between the shades and everything. But I thought, you know, Take Time to Stitch, that's a perfect design for me. I'll just switch all of those colors, because I think the pattern only calls for 9. What this particular endeavor has taught me is I cannot be trusted to make my own color stories, because I'll show you. Okay, so my favorite colors are like aqua, mint, yellow, and this is what it ended up looking like. I don't think it's bad. I just think that so when it comes to like color theory and like general color story building and everything, you want to have a variety of shades, of intensities and whatnot. I don't think I've achieved that. So I reached out to a co-worker of mine, and she's a knitter, and whenever she decides her color story, she takes a picture of her wools that she's planning on stitching with or knitting with, and turns them into black and white on her phone. And because of that, she'll be able to see like which colors contrast each other, if there's too much of the same value in one particular color story, that kind of thing. I did that, and I completely ignored it. Everything was kind of the same. I had so many aquas and yellows that just like had almost the exact same value or looked almost identical when it came to black and white, which is why like there's I think 8 colors in here, but it looks like there's only like 3 different ones. Just because, yeah, I just kept gravitating to the same aquas and yellows and greens, and yeah. This is, I mean, I'm happy with the result in the sense that I'm happy that I tried something like this, but I definitely think I afterwards, after finishing this, actually, I went to a local needle store, and they had a finish of this particular design, not with the called for, but similar to the called for. And it looked so much better. I'm sorry. It's just, I need to learn that, just because I'm building a color story, that not every single color that I pick for that particular story has to be my favorite color. That's something that I have difficulty learning. Yeah, it's just, I'm glad that I tried this, because originally I was going to try this particular, you know, story with a much bigger design. and I'm glad that I stitched it on something small first so I could see that like I need to make some changes. But yeah, I did none of the beads here. Wait, what else did I not do? Oh yeah, I added some gold because I do have quite a bit of gold in my apartment. Like my colors in my interior are like aqua and gold. That's basically everything in here. But yeah, what else was I going to say about this? Oh, the original design by Jeannette Douglas calls for a little scissor bead here, scissor charm in the Take Time to Stitch box. I did not have anything like that. However, I did have one of my purchases, which I'll show you later. I purchased the pattern Take Time to Stitch 2, also by Jeannette Douglas. And within that pattern, you have a little bit of a design that shows a little scissor. So I just decided instead of adding the scissor charm, I would copy the scissor design from Take Time to Stitch 2 and put it in the box. But because I used color blue that I liked and nothing else, you can barely even see it, I think. But yeah. Oh, again, this is stitched on 40 count baby sheet by xJudesign. I finished this in less than a week, I think. But yeah, I am thinking of at some later date restitching this with different colors, and then maybe framing it. I'm not sure I'm willing to frame this as of yet, but yeah, I need to rework it. Need to add some different colors, create a more cohesive color story that doesn't look like 50 Shades of Aqua. Yeah, it's just it was a nice exercise for me. It was just like letting go, having a little bit of a fuck it attitude when it came to stitching. Usually I try to be very perfectionist, but now it's just like, okay, throw everything that you like at this particular pattern. You know, if the end result isn't all that, then it only took you a couple of days to stitch. So that's kind of the attitude I went into this with. So this will be a restitch at some point in different colors. But yeah, I'm happy I tried it at least. Oh yeah, also the specialty stitches in this particular one, very nice. Enjoyed them quite a bit. I love the Bargello, I love the trellis stitch. Also the first time that I did like the road stitches in the shape of hearts. Yeah, just overall very much enjoyed this pattern. Just yeah, the end result is just a little bit not disappointing. It's just not what I visualized, but I would say it's not what I visualized, but it's actually like I suck at visualizing things. It's just not what I expected, that kind of thing. But yeah, you'll be seeing this again sometime, this design again sometime in the future. But yeah, on to my next project. So this is so my next project is actually also part of the haul, because I started stitching this almost directly after I bought it. I was still stitching on Take Time to Stitch, bought that pattern, and then immediately started stitching this one. So this is also a Jeannette Douglas. Again, I'm gravitating towards her, probably because I'll be going on holiday. But yeah, I'm just looking at projects that I can quickly finish until I'm off on holiday. But yeah, this is Take Time to Read by Jeannette Douglas. Again, I'm using none of the called for because most of these colors, those colors I don't have access to. I'm just using Karen Water Lilies and DMC conversions. So yeah, this was part of the haul. This will most likely be a gift for someone, but I don't really want to say too much because I do think they follow me and I don't want to spoil it too much. But yeah, I started stitching this, I think 3 days ago, not entirely sure. Stitching this one on 36 counts though. Also Baby She by xJudesign. If you want to see the difference in size between like the 36 count and the 40 count, I'll hold them next to each other. Maybe I can bend the fabric a bit so it's easier to compare. Yeah, that's the difference in size. I'm hoping it's kind of clear. I'm not entirely sure why I did this one on 36 count. I think, oh no, I remember. There's a particular area here where it's all 1/1 stitching. So this little box right here, this will all be 1/1. So that's probably why I didn't do 40 count for this particular one. But yeah, so this will be stitched for a friend. Don't want to say too much. But yeah, I'm looking forward to these colors. You see, like if you compare the two, when it comes to like the color story and everything, like this one has some clear, you know, light colors, dark colors, complementary colors, colors that bring warmth, that bring cool. this one doesn't. So yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at with that particular one. Ooh. Sorry, I just dropped it. And then I think that's all we have about my finishes, and this is, you know, this was just my work in progress at the time. Let's talk about some hauls. So I'll just start with the take time to read one. So I just showed you this. This was purchased yeah, quite recently. Thing is, I actually talked about this with Megan for a second, but she said that people who start Flosstubes suddenly start purchasing a lot more patterns, and I was actually thinking that the opposite is happening for me, because I keep like a spreadsheet of all of my expenses every year, and in comparison to last year, I've spent less than a third than I would have on cross stitch than I did at this point last year. So I thought I was being nice. I was being, you know, I was behaving. I am behaving. The thing is, with the weather being a little bit nicer, whenever I go to my parents' house, they have a needle store in walking distance, and me and my mom like to take walks. We just happen to go by the needle store every time, so whenever I pass by there, I'm like, okay, I'll have one of you, and yeah, that's basically what's been happening. But I've been behaving. So we have the Take Time to Read, purchase that one. This is the original color story again, if you want to compare it to my conversions. I'm hoping both of these are in frame. So yeah, that's what that looks like. What else? Oh yeah, the Take Time to Stitch 2, that's also something I mentioned earlier. Purchase that as well. Probably going to do that in the color story that it recommends here. I really love this. Well, I love the little scissors in the design. That's one of the things that sold me on it. But also there's this really nice alphabet around the border. So yeah, looking forward to stitching that as well. Looks cute. What else? Oh yeah, this is a biggie. I purchased the Star Center quilt, also by Jeannette Douglas. I'm obsessed, honestly. But yeah, this is the design I was talking about when I was thinking about stitching something in my own color story. So this is the reason that I actually started stitching this one, because I wanted to try to see if this color story would maybe work on something like this, because this particular design, you get two colorways, but the design, the description also encourages you to try your own colorway. So yeah, that's what started this whole thinking. So yeah, this is what it looks like. There's a lot of like satin stitches in here, which is really what's calling to me at this point. I really like the idea of creating something with like, yeah, it's just, especially with silks, this is going to look so gorgeous if I do decide to go with silks. But just, I like the idea of creating, yeah, a quilt design basically with cross stitch, with fabric, with specialty stitches, all of that. I got very excited by this particular design, but it's just, it's going to be a decision of what color story do I do it in. And yeah, I think what I actually need to do is go on like the Facebook groups and the Instagram and see what other finishes people have made of this particular design and see which colors they tried. But yeah, that's something for future me to think about and marinate over. But yeah, just really happy to be supporting Jeannette Douglas in any way I can. She often comments on whenever I post a finish. So she's a really lovely lady. She said she enjoyed my different colorways and everything. So I really like supporting her, and she has some gorgeous designs. She has so many things that I still have my eye on. For example, what I was looking on at is she has an alphabet series that's quite a bit larger than the like Take Time series, but so it's like A, B, C, D, E, F. I'm looking at some points to stitch all of those, but like on one long strip of fabric. I think that would be so cool. Also, Megan, the Seattle Stitcher, I think she's currently working on the Sew series by Jeannette Douglas, and because of her, I've now also been eyeing that, but I think that's a series of 9 different patterns. So the plan would be to, at some point, collect all of them and then stitch them all on the same fabric as like one huge design. But yeah, that will take some time. I need to live to be like 140 to finish everything that I want to, but you know, we'll get there at some point. But yeah, that was everything for purchases, for finishes, for current projects. So I think all that's left to talk about now is my plans. So like I said, I'll be traveling a lot this summer, and I do have some projects that I take with me on holidays. So the projects that I decided on currently, so this might still change, But the ones that I'm keeping an eye on are Cross Stitcher at Work, so I'll be showing that here somewhere. This is a design by StudioHMP on Etsy. I do have a fabric set aside for this. I'm not sure if I'm going to be using the called for flosses because some of them are a little bit more muted than I like, so I might just, you know, up the brightness or the, what's it called, saturation on some of these shades in my version of this particular stitch, but that's something I'm definitely thinking about stitching while I'm on holiday. The next option is, oh, that's also a haul. The next option is Real Comfort by ModernFolkEmbroidery. So I also purchased this pattern. Sorry, I should have mentioned that in the haul. But yeah, this is what it looks like. I'm hopefully showing it somewhere here. I have an idea for this particular design because I've been inspired by a lot of cross-stitchers doing pink on pink designs and finishes and everything. And I think that this particular design would look so nice on a pink on pink kind of thing. So I do actually have fabric set aside for this particular one, which is Arbor Creations Hydrangea Light in 36 count Zweigart, or is it even weave? Let me check. Oh, no, it's linen. It's linen. All right, but this is what it looks like. I think the pattern itself will take up about half of this fabric. And yeah, I'm just thinking about using a really punchy pink to stitch this particular pattern on there. I still need to decide which pink. I still have some things to look into because I do actually also want to use this fabric for another design by Nora Corbett called Floral Dream. So I'll need to do some calculations to see like if I cut out the fabric for Real Comfort, if I can still fit Floral Dream on the excess. But yeah, it would be a really nice travel project, but just because if I were to decide to stitch only one color, then I can only, you know, I only need to carry along one color with me. So this is also definitely a possibility for my plans when it comes to the holidays. And apart from that, I have absolutely no idea. I do have a file that I keep on hand, like a note in my notes app saying like, okay, I want to have this started by then, this finished by then. But it's quite loose around the summertime. Like this is on purpose because of, you know, possible holidays, trips, everything like that. So this is as much as I can prepare for plans at the moment. And even they're not completely set in stone. But yeah, love this fabric, by the way. Very excited to try, because it'll be the first time stitching on a Arbor Creations linen, so I'm very excited to try this out. Love this color. But yeah, in essence, that's all I had to talk about. So yeah, we have some idea of what we're going to do, but not entirely. Stitching will probably slow down a little bit, well, quite a bit, since the summer is coming up, since there's going to be holidays, there's going to be events, parties. Yeah, so not sure when I'm going to be seeing you next and how much I'll have to talk about then. But I was doing really good with the one video a month schedule, so I'm trying to keep it at that. But yeah, I think that's all that I need to mention. I'm going to put I'm going to mention quite a few people in the description as well. So all of the people that I still remember from the Spring Mingle, I'm going to put in there. Some links to the fabrics, the designs, everything will be down below in the description. But yeah, that was everything from my end. So, oh god, my voice is almost going. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here. Yeah, subscribe if you haven't. Leave a comment, let me know what you're working on. I really like seeing all of the different styles that everybody is of my followers, and I just really like, you know, exploring different brands and fabrics and all of that, so I really love hearing what everybody is working on. But yeah, that was all I needed to mention, so I'm gonna log off now and rest my voice a little bit, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye! Okay, I just realized this might be the first video I'm posting where I'm not wearing a Taylor Swift t-shirt, but now I'm wearing a Twilight t-shirt. I'm such a fangirl. I would be trying to stitch a particular area and I would need 4 different pages of the pattern, like lying around me, kind of like in a witchy potion book kind of way, in order to be able to know how to correctly perform the shit.